Hi guys, welcome back to another episode at My Bangla Official. I have someone amazing here with me today, and it's Nazia Khatun from Fitness Reborn UK. Nazia is a former boxer. She is actually an award-winning fitness specialist featured in the Metro, The Voice, Evening Standard. You've been on 5 News, BBC News, and Sky News as well. So it's amazing, absolutely amazing. I did actually read your articles, and we'll go into other things that I have watched as well that I found absolutely amazing. So if you would like to just give us a brief introduction of yourself and tell us just a little bit about what you do now.
Well, at the moment, what I'm doing is reaching out to South Asian females with my fitness program, which really digs into people's emotions. And I realize I'm no longer dealing with people's weight loss, weight gain, or anything. It's understanding their mental health and it's championing their mental health. And the fitness is just, it's used as a tool for them to enhance their self-love, for them to understand their emotions, for them to embrace their emotions. So in short, I'm using neuroscience and fitness combined together to get people to really live in their best selves. And it's a mindset change and how they're using or how they're living their day-to-day life. And the program was created in a way for people to do things to rewire their habits and their mindset. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. But there's so much more that I'm dipping my feet in and out of. So
me watching you on social media, you're constantly on the go, active with your clients, because obviously you do your fitness courses as well. But I did pick up the fact that you combine neuroscience and fitness together, and that's amazing because obviously it's about your emotional well-being and your, how you stabilize yourself and your mental health as well. It's not just about going out there and getting a run in or like booking yourself on a course for 8 weeks. It's so much more deeper than that. I was actually reading up about you and obviously came across quite a few things, and it suggested to me that obviously you had gone through a pretty hard, rough time, and your relationship with yourself was spiraling, and that actually it stood out to me. And I think there has to be that penny drop moment, like you mentioned as well in your interview, where you realize that, hang on, I'm actually disrupting myself, and if I don't stop now, then am I going to breathe tomorrow, basically? And you came to that point. I have to say, I actually listened to one of your interviews, and it was really emotional. I have to say, guys, I'm gonna link it, so you have to go and watch it. It's about 43 minutes long, and it was with was it Imam? I've got it here.
Different aspects, I think. Was I wearing a
white top? That's it. Yes, and a top same patients on it, and I cannot believe how much I resonated with you and all the little bits all the way through. And I have to be totally transparent with you. When I listen to interviews like that, I skip. I'm always skipping because I know what's going to happen now, honestly. But all the way through, there was times where I could feel myself emotionally welling up because I resonated with you so much. It's relatable to the life that South Asian women live, your ups, your downs, your highs. So if you can tell me a little bit about when the turnaround happened and you thought, I need to do something about this.
I think I had a lot of points in my life where, we don't listen to our intuition or our gut feeling. And one thing I know about the human emotion is we change when we feel like we're really drowning. And from the pain creates a desperate change. But for me, those desperate changes was very short-lived. And there was no meaning behind those changes because I couldn't articulate my emotions in a way where I was feeling good about myself. And it was just non-stop in terms of what was happening in my life at that time. And the penny drop moment, I guess, was when I turned 30 and realizing I had spent so much of my time physically training, physically trying to look good, and I still wasn't happy. And I think at the age of 30, it was an emotional outburst. It was like a volcano of, I just erupted basically. I just couldn't handle it anymore. And I realized I spent so many of my years, wasted my youth trying to impress other people. I didn't feel good enough. I hated my body. I hated everything about myself. I hated my emotions. I couldn't understand anything. It was a very confused moment for me. And I went to this talk, and I just want to add as well, at that time, I spiraled into depression, and depression took me to a path, like I said in that video, it took me to a dark place.
Yeah. You were fighting depression, feeling sad,
Yeah,
also happy as
yeah,
well, but, you know,
yeah. And I just found myself, I couldn't talk about those emotions.
yeah.
I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know how to do anything because I was just confined in this mind and this body. And I had this perception of me. People had this perception of
Yeah.
me, and people's perception of me was not who I was. The outer surface was very strong. The inner self was very vulnerable. It was very fragile. And when I realized that I wasn't giving myself enough attention of self-love and feeling enough, I changed. That was a time I think I really, really did change. And that I've been on a journey since the age of 30.
Yeah.
I'm now 37, and every day is a new emotion that comes up. Like yesterday, I had an amazing day. Today, I woke
Yeah.
up, and our wounds all come back in different
They
shapes and
do.
forms. Our triggers are all different compared to big ones and small ones. But now, at this moment in time, it's knowing that I have enough resources to actually bring me back to myself again,
Yeah.
bringing me back into alignment to my purpose, to my mission. I'm not that version of the old one. I'm here because of my journey, the eating disorders, the changing my job, the going against the Bangladeshi normality of, not being a wife, having children, being in an office job. So I think, just to answer your question, age 30, and I'm actually very, very blessed to have changed at the age of 30, because most people don't get that privilege. Most people don't have that chance. And I work with clients that are 50, 55, and I hear what I said to myself when I was 30, and age is just nothing but a number, but people give themselves a chance to live their life again. And it's beautiful as well, because if I've done it, so many other people can do it. And we really need to push this out to our community more.
That's
It's
it.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's where the reborn aspect of Fitness Reborn
Yeah.
comes in, because you are literally giving people another chance at life, telling them that they can do it. They don't need to be spiraling out of control where they then are in a dark place and it's hard for them to get out. This
Yeah.
kind of mental health aspect in our society, especially like if we're talking about the Bangladeshi community, you saying to your mum or whoever, I've got depression, and then them saying, what are you talking about? You don't have depression, just go and eat something or whatnot. That's how it is. They don't know what it is, and they don't know how to deal with it. So then people like us who do go through these spurts in our life are never dealing with it, and we go along with every day, going into relationships, friendships are not stable because of that. How can
Yeah.
we break this? I mean, you are a gateway to that, because
Oh.
honestly you are, because the fitness aspect of something is actually, for me, I look at it as a way of someone that generally can't get out the house, and coming out to have that 30-40 minute session with you is probably the only interaction they will get. It's like a viable excuse to get out the house, but as you mentioned before, it's not just about the fitness itself. You combine neuroscience with it. It's a lot to do with mental health, how the person's thinking, their stability, their life, and you are literally a life coach. That's how I see you. How would you describe yourself?
See, I always was against this word life coach. I didn't feel like I had enough experience to call myself a life coach. And life coaches get a really bad name in terms of coaching and stuff. I didn't put myself in a category, to be honest with you. I didn't even think myself as someone who was changing people's lives, because I was just a fitness coach many years ago.
Yeah.
But having dwelled into the program, why I created that program was created for the young Nazia that didn't get the help, right? When I really think about why I created Fitness Reborn, it was for myself. I went through the process. I had to change. I did it for myself. And then when I had these clients that came on and they were changing as an effect of the program and everything that was built in the modules, I was like, wow, this is not just about the body. This is more than just a fitness. And every session when I was in my spiraled darkness, my depression, I found every session helped me become reborn again. This is where the program comes from, the name of the Fitness Reborn and the ethos behind it, basically.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to shut the window because
That's
I can
okay.
hear booming going on. And right now, I'm like thinking, okay, this is fantastic because whatever I'm doing because people need this, and they need it in a way where we need people talking about these topics. We need people talking about the sensitive topics that nobody else is talking about.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Topics, for instance, like I know you said there's more to what you do, but topics like how, a relationship breakup, for instance, in our society, people don't know who to go to, who to turn to, because you can't talk to your mom, you can't talk to your older brother. How on earth are you going to be able to talk to your younger self? And there was a little bit actually in your video that really hit me actually, and you said you were fragile and vulnerable, but that's how your youngest saw you, and it really affected you because you were an older sister and you were giving off, a vulnerability side of you, and you didn't want them to see that. How does it make you feel to know that you were there and where you are now, and they do look up to you now, as opposed to you thinking they never did or they wouldn't be able to?
I speak a lot. I'm very open with my sisters.
Yeah.
And especially my younger sister. When I went through my eating disorders, when I went through that time of depression, I'm the eldest sister that was there for them. I was fighting my own demons, and I had this invisible pressure to be this perfect older sister because I was the one that was paving the way for them. And I failed at that because I didn't want to be that person that was restricted, confined, and having this cultural expectation. I was defying all these stereotypes without even realizing it at the time. And I think that did create a turbulent effect on my emotions because I was rebelling without realizing I was rebelling. And where I had an eating disorder, I think having younger sisters around me, they picked up on that in a very, very volatile way. So it didn't help their self-image issues or their confidence because they watched their elder sister going through this phase of having this issue. And when I look at my younger sisters, we all talk about our body image in a way where it's kind of negative all the time until I stopped doing that. And then it became, okay, how do we make this positive? And, every day is about understanding we're here with our emotions and it's okay. And we have to embrace it in a way where we're not told to embrace it, especially in the Bangladeshi community. So it was difficult, and I've had a very, very open dialogue with my sisters, where I've asked them for forgiveness. I've actually openly said, look, I'm very sorry I wasn't there in the crucial years of being a teenager, of a 20-year-old and living my 20s, because I didn't get a manual to be, how to be a human, how to embrace those emotions. But then when I went through my depression, it was my sisters and my siblings who actually picked me up through the process, loving me for who I am, telling me not to be so hard on myself because I couldn't express to my parents I'm depressed. It's a very alienated concept to them.
It is, definitely.
So it was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was hard. Even when I think about it now and that video you watch, it makes me very emotional because we relived those events in our head.
You got me, honestly. I throughout the video, I was up and down with my emotions. So, it's, like I said, I resonated with it a lot. And where you were at in that video is what I could possibly say I've overcome a lot of the stuff that you were experiencing at that time. So, yeah. But like as you say, and they are your words, you always come to a place of acceptance. You actually said that, and that hit me, because there's always going to be a time where you experience that. You come to a place of acceptance, and you grab your life, so you know where you are, you know what you need to do with it, and then you just go for it. So yeah, that the little thing you said was amazing. Going back to when you were younger, obviously, because you did experience the eating disorder earlier on. You mentioned Layla Ali. So you interviewed Layla Ali when you were pretty young, and you didn't even know who she was at that point. But you mentioned that it was a push and a goal because of the way she spoke, because of the way she said you can be what you want to be. And I think maybe then perhaps you didn't know it, but maybe that was a goal start for you to think, you know what, I can do whatever I want to do. And you did. You probably didn't know how that was going to maneuver you into yourself. So I mean, that must have had an effect on you. For someone like that, when you did actually know who she was afterwards, it must have, the implication, and like it must have affected you a lot, but in a good way.
When I look back at my teenage years, and Layla Ali came into the college, I didn't have a clue who she was. But then when I did start boxing, it was a big influence from seeing a person of brown skin color, black skin color that resonated with me a little bit. So when I went into boxing, I didn't realize how much of a dominantly male sport it was at the time, if I'm honest with you. I didn't realize how much backlash I would have got at that time from my own family, being a Bangladeshi Muslim female, all that kind of stuff that came with it. I didn't realize that this was something that we weren't meant to do. I did because I was in that environment and I wanted to give it a go. And having said that, I think it's very important to make this clear. I had a lot of anger issues. And having an eating disorder and then using the gym, I exhausted myself, and I needed something else just to give me that excitement and to feel good about myself. So boxing served me in such a beautiful way where it tamed my anger, it controlled some of my emotions, and it was the only thing I knew how to control my emotions. But I also realized by the time I was 30 how destructive it was. So when I stopped boxing, it was a combination of being constantly told nobody's gonna marry me, being constantly told that Asian
because you
Muslim,
liked a bit of boxing.
Nobody will marry me, and nobody will find me attractive. And I had broad shoulders, everything against the normal petite Asian, appearance. So I stood out like a sore thumb sometimes as well. So it didn't really help when I used to go for marriage proposals, and when I used to tell them, this is what I do. I didn't realize how much of an impact it had on these
Being
people.
a boxer,
I didn't realize that fitness was such a bad thing in our community when it came to marriage proposals. It's a very bizarre thing for me to articulate this. Like, you're trying to look after yourself. You have a passion for fitness. Why was it then based on that I was getting rejected? It just didn't make no sense. But having that role model and going back to her, she just planted the seed in me. And I think when I show up, when I created my community on my Instagram and my Facebook, I took them on a journey to show, and I keep saying this, we are limitless human beings. We can become whoever the hell we want to be. And especially, there is no voice for the South Asian female. There is no voice, and if you narrow it down, there is no voice for the Bangladeshi female as well. And I know there's a lot of my DMs, the females that come up, they say, you're like the motivational speaker we need. And I go, oh God, there is no such thing as me being a motivational speaker, but just us just showing up. And my key theme is just show up, because whatever I'm going through on a day-to-day basis, somebody else is going through that they can resonate and not feel alone. When I was going through my depression, when I was going through my eating disorders, when I was a boxer, I didn't have anyone to show me that South Asian females fall into that category, right? So it was a very alienated time for me. It was a very, you consume a lot of your thoughts in yourself, and you don't know how to be because you feel like you're the only one. and you single yourself out, you don't communicate with other Bangladeshi people, you don't know how to be in the Asian community. So it becomes a conflict of identity at some points as well.
I totally agree. Our community, the society that we live in, the South Asian, especially the Bangladeshi community, they just don't know how to communicate with their children and vice versa. Like, we don't know how to approach them. If I was to ask you, if there's just one thing you would like for all our Bangladeshi mums and dads, mothers and fathers out there to know from us, what would it be that you'd tell them, so that they, so that they're a bit more open to the younger generation, opening up to them?
I think what I say all the time is own yourself.
Yeah.
Owning yourself is the most hardest thing to do as an Asian female. We don't know who we are. We've never had a chance to explore what we're about. What do you like? What don't you like? What makes you excited? What makes you sad? What makes you thrilled about the world? Go and explore. Go and study you first. And it's like, when we go on a date,
Yeah.
we go to meet potential. We want to find out what their first color is, what their favorite food is, what their favorite color is, what their favorite this is, what do they love, what don't they love. When do we sit down and actually put pen and paper and say, this is what I love, this is who I am, this is what I love about myself? Learn how to love yourself. I know self-love is such a...
It's quite a broad... it's quite broad, because you can love yourself in so many ways. So, it's quite broad.
And self-love isn't just about, doing this and that materialistically or superficially. It's about sitting by yourself and getting to know you for who you are. And one of the best things about me is I accept my flaws. I know I'm never going to be perfect. I don't want to be perfect. Yeah. And I've accepted there's good in me and there's bad in me, and there's going to be good days and bad days. And it's just working through it. And the best advice I would give to everyone is own your emotions. Own your emotions. Emotional intelligence is so important. Like the program, I don't dwell on about, how many reps can you do? Oh, fantastic. Yeah. The fitness is used to encourage and challenge them to become that person that they're supposed to be in every areas of their lives. Getting them to love themselves, getting them to love the process, getting them to be okay with being alone. In our culture, it's horrible to say this as well. We have this horrible pressure on being married, being a mom. Then if we're divorced, we're seen as an outcast. If we're single, we're seen as an outcast. Yeah. We've expired our date. All these kind of things condition us to feel like we can't do what we want to do.
It's true.
Right? Isn't it true?
It is true. I mean, that's why I say I resonate with you so much, because I'm a divorcee. I'm a single mother. Yeah. I'm not getting married, although I have a quite, my family isn't pushy, they're very open-minded, but I'm at a stage where, I think when I spoke to you on the phone, I actually told you I'm on a self-love journey, and my self-love journey starts with fitness. I mean, I've recently started going to Cairo, just today, I had my second session, and that's one thing on my to-do list for me. It's making me feel amazing because I'm doing something for myself. It doesn't benefit anyone else but me. The only way I can benefit this for someone else is if I feel amazing, I can then go ahead and make someone else feel amazing, and it's a knock-on effect. It's almost a domino effect, isn't it?
You have to pass the light on, and by loving yourself, it's part of you honoring yourself as well. And I think, my journey has had turbulences of highs and lows, and it's not been one single line of, I love myself and I own it. No, because there are days when I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh gosh, I look awful today. I feel fat today. We all do it. It's not something to be ashamed of. And I'm a fitness coach. I have the worst ever hang up sometimes, because when you're in the public eye, people have this perception of what a fitness coach should be. And we need to redefine all of these things, redefine the concept self-love, redefine what fitness means, because fitness to me now has changed its meaning. It's if I don't go for that run, if I don't do that session, it's not helping my mental state. I'm not loving, I'm not nourishing myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I just want to quickly touch on this topic of mental
Of
health
course.
as well. With our lockdown and everything that's happening,
Yeah.
we have a long way to go, understanding what mental health is in our community. Mental health, depression, schizophrenic, you know, all those things that
Yeah.
fall
Yeah.
under the mental health category. And I still remember till this day when I had to express to my parents that I was actually going through suicidal talks that I had talked about in that
Yeah. Video.
program. It was the most hardest thing to actually express. It was just randomly at the table. I've had enough of the constant nagging of I'm not good enough from people that are supposed to love me and nourish me, because
Yeah.
they're feeling pressured from external family and relatives. Why isn't your daughter married? She's expired her date. When is she gonna have babies? Who's gonna marry her if she gets to 30? You know, all these
Yeah.
kind of things. And you have to be so brave to take that on and tell your family that you are actually struggling, and you should become a norm to be able to tell our loved ones that we're struggling, we need help. By doing so, we are actually preventing suicide rates,
Mm-hmm.
our young people going on alcohol, drugs. There's a lot of things that are happening out there, which I'm not going to get into detail, only because we have so much trauma that's in us and we don't know how to heal.
That's it.
So, our Bangladeshi community, the traditional way of thinking, oh, yeah, prayer and Quran is going to just get rid of the problem, is no longer an advice that we could keep pumping into people. They need help. They need therapy. They need to change their diet. They need to look at exercise in a different way. You know, the pill, medicine doesn't have all the answers right now.
It doesn't.
We have to go a bit deeper.
It doesn't.
So,
And we're
yeah.
in a state, in the whole world is in a state now where medicine isn't the answer. It hasn't, nothing's working. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Moving along, I absolutely admire you, and I know a lot of other people do. And
Thank you.
I just want to take this opportunity to say that we are proud of who you are, where you came from, what you've become, and what the future holds for you. I see so many positive things on your page. Trust me, I've scrolled down all the way. So you know, and you know, you've done campaigns with Adidas, Decathlon, you know, like, that's amazing. That, I'm sorry, but I know you're quite reserved. I know you're very reserved, and you're probably going to say, but no, you know, but that's amazing in itself. I'm sorry, you know, watching you, it's made me proud. And I know there might be silent followers, silent supporters that might not write a comment, they might not like the video, but they see you, and I bet it inspires them, you know.
I hope so. I hope so. And I think we can only help and elevate people to become who they're meant to become. I think over the time and the years I've been pushing, I've not given up on this, you know,
Yeah.
because
I can
I
tell.
know I have a gift, and
Yeah.
most of us forget that we have this gift to shine on people. And I know I have a service that is saving people's life is one, transforming people's life and giving them the option of living their best life when they've been told their whole lives that they can't be something because of who they are.
That's it.
I mean, I'm in a very privileged place to be, and sometimes I do look back and I think, wow, I feel sad for that old Nazia. I feel sad for that young girl. I feel sad because I wasn't there for her, because I didn't know how to be.
You just want to go and give her a hug and tell her everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, like today, yeah, even on my run this morning, I felt this burst of emotions. And I didn't know where it came from. And I was like, oh, wow, I've come to this place. I haven't given up. There's a thing called grit and determination that we probably have built in our DNA as Bangladeshis, I think, to keep fighting on. And you have to just honor the past sometimes. And just, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like you. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all my clients that believed in me, trusted in me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people that believed in me as well. So this isn't just my work, it's our work. And I have an obligation, and everybody around me has this duty to keep passing the light on, to keep passing the baton on. So yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. we have got so much more to come.
Definitely. Thank you so much for giving up your time, because I know you're a busy lady. I know that you're doing a talk about benefits of online yoga as well during lockdown, so I know you're probably going to get ready for that too. But I just want to say thank you from myself on behalf of everyone else that doesn't get a chance to tell you. You guys need to go and check Nazia out, because she's so much more than her Instagram handle name. So much more. She's inspiring. She's going to make you look the right, to the right path. You're not going to stray. She's out there for the Bangladeshi community and for all South Asians actually, and she's saving lives, literally. You're saving lives. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.